Happy New Year, first of all. Welcome. This is the 1st of January that I'm recording this. I don't know when this is going out, only when I edit it. And where I live, we've been having severe rainstorms. We've been having warnings, not to go out and such. And I've stuck to those warnings, by the way. The warning was only valid until midday. It's now 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so I'm fine. But it's still raining a lot. And most people, my family included, would prefer to stay home in their pyjamas, just resting. It's the New Year's Day, nothing is going on. In this country, there are only 2 days of the year where everything is closed, and that's Christmas Day and New Year's Day. But anyway, I made them all lunch and did everything. Walked the dog, did everything. They all just stayed in their pyjamas. And so as my own personal reward, I went for a drive. And here I am. And yeah, I'm doing this silly thing that only crazy people do, which is trying to get the lowest average possible in a thunderstorm. Sorry, I'm a bit mad, I know. It's not going well, 5.9. But then it is a bit hilly where I am. I'm only going uphill. And hills kill economy runs. In fact, I'll probably show you where I'm going. It's a lot more interesting than looking at my face, in my humble opinion. Now, many videos at this time of year usually browse on what happened last year. Past year for me was defined by one thing, and that was buying my current car. All the rest is just a bunch of details. And speaking of that, every now and then I do get some buyer's remorse, and I mentioned this in a previous video. Every now and then I stop and I think, did I do the right thing buying this car? And some of the niggles that I had originally, they've gone. I didn't like the original, I did not like the electronic handbrake. Now, honestly, I'm used to it. I couldn't care less. I don't like the boot that much, especially when economy mode kicks in. That's a bit annoying. But apart from that, again, something that I'm fine with. I think the thing that most annoys me is the sat-nav screen and the lack of a proper cubby space where the sat-nav screen was. It used to be where the I think you understand it. The cubby space used to be where the sat-nav screen is now in the previous car. And I miss that a lot. It really makes a difference. It's somewhere where I can put my phone. It was somewhere, I should say, where I can put my phone. And now I have no such place. I wonder what a wider angle will look like. You just see more of the bonnet, I suppose. And a little bit of the camera mount. Oh well, could be worse. But then again, as I said in the previous video, all of these little niggles and such, they don't really make a difference. Oh, of course, the fuel consumption, which is the reason I'm doing this, to see if I can get a low fuel consumption. That's been rather bad, but is that a price worth paying? Yes, it is. I'd much rather have this performance in the car that I really want than anything else, because yeah, fuel consumption, it is important. Yes, no doubt about it. I do prize that highly. But more than that, it's the experience of driving. Most people have a car from going from A to B. That's what matters. Being at A and being at B. Being in the middle, that's something you have to do. I don't. I like being between A and B. That's the journey itself. Sorry, that's the destination. The journey is the destination for me, because usually A and B are the same place. It's home after I've gone for a drive. And I have the perfect tool to enjoy that drive between A and B, wherever it may be. That's what matters to me. It all rhymes, my God, I'm a poet. And what better day than New Year's Day when everyone's at home to go for a drive? You've got empty roads. Well, not that empty. I've got this Honda in front of me going rather slowly. But then again, so am I going rather slowly, so it doesn't matter. there's a route that I take. Maybe I can do a video on that route and show you the route that I like to do a lot. It's really cool. Well, it's cool for me anyway. It's sort of like a rural route through some picturesque small villages and such in Portugal, in northern Portugal. It's wonderful. It's a nice house here on the left. Another thing that of course I like to do, my wife as well when she's with me, is we like to muse on what it would be like to be able to buy some of these lovely houses that we see. But yeah, we're broke, so we can't buy any of them. But we like to dream. You get some massive houses out here in the countryside, not too far from the city. I would say it's about a 20-minute drive from here into Porto, which is the second largest city in the country. These places used to be dirt cheap not too long ago. I don't know, maybe as little as 20 years ago. You could probably get these houses for a fraction of what they cost now. This housing boom, this pricing bubble, I think it's a bubble, is completely out of control everywhere in the world, not just in Britain and America and whatnot. Even here, even in this backward corner of Europe. Sorry Portuguese if you're watching, but come on, we are a bit backward, let's be honest, in many ways. But in one respect that we're not backward is that we're a very popular destination for other Europeans who like to come here and retire. Even here in the north, it used to be only in the Algarve, and they were Brits. But even here, you get loads of people from France and Germany who come here to retire. And so they like to buy their big houses, and that's driven the prices up, even for us regular folk. So having like a house in the country is sort of like, it's out of the reach for most people. Wow, look at that. Flooding. Wow. Lots of flooding. Wow. But anyway, yeah, houses are too expensive. Wow, look at the size of that. Look at those fields. Uphill does not help economy. Look at that, it's just water everywhere. Water, water, water. I really like these places. I don't know, it just, if you sort of like squint, it reminds me of England, which is the greatest possible compliment that I can give this place. Look at that, look. That field is completely underwater. That is a field. That is where people plant things. And it is completely gone. I know where we are. I know this place well. This is on the route of Santiago. And if you haven't watched the video on, and if you haven't watched the video where I do an international economy run, I actually mentioned the Santiago Way. Camino de Santiago, very interesting. And on the left we just passed a shelter for pilgrims where a neighbour of mine used to work. Very popular this is for pilgrims. You can't see on the video, but we're passing loads of little signs showing the clamshell, the symbol of Santiago. It's a clamshell that looks like a sun. It's actually very well designed, in my humble opinion. Here we are, Veirão, Veirão. I think they've got, look at that, look at the water coming out. Turn the camera to the side. You can hear it, but you really can't see it. But I'm kicking up a lot of water. I'm completely lost in thought. I don't know. I think people in Britain probably look at this weather and go, oh God, miserable weather. And they're used to it, but then again, they're tired of it. Here, where it's a much more sunshiny country, we should see this as an absolute anathema to everything that we like. But I like this sort of weather. It contrasts well to the sunshine. It makes you appreciate the sunshine more. But I don't know. I'm weird. I just like to drive around. And in the rain, what's good is that usually there are less people. Holy moly! I am kicking up so much water. It's a good thing there's no one on the streets and the pavement that I will soak. Does that make sense? God, I'm not making sense. Sorry, I'm concentrating. That's why I'm talking a bit stupid now. Yes, my brain power's gone. It's all concentrated on driving. So my apologies. Is there a dog still sticking his head out the window? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Let me just see if I can capture that. Hello, doggy. That is hilarious. Let's continue. Left or right? Eeny, meeny, packa, racka, wet. Oh, dominaka, cheeky papa, lollipop, on, pom, push. Right. I don't want to go right. Change my mind. I'm going to go left. Where will this take me? So yeah, I really like this car. Houses are expensive, and well, sort of reminds me of England. Then I see the churches. No, I'm definitely in Southern Europe. The churches here are everywhere. This is still a very Catholic country, but at least it's not as Catholic as it was even something like 30 years ago. Priest has way too much sway in public life. But I digress. This is probably not the best subject to talk about, given that His Holiness Pope, well, the ex-Pope Benedict XVI passed away. Was it yesterday, I think? So yeah, I'll shut up. I just keep going up. Uppity. That does not help fuel economy. Back to the fuel economy. I'm now on 6.1. Just went down to 6.0. So, yeah, this means I haven't gone very far. It's fluctuating a lot. '70, you say? Ooh, yeah, but 70 kilometres an hour, not miles an hour. People from Britain, so don't get too excited. Christ Almighty, he's got his high beams on. Oh, he's a mini driver. Deciduous forest instead of eucalyptus trees. There, eucalyptus trees in the background. God, I hate eucalyptus trees. There's a cork tree. Got some cork trees just hanging over the road. Beautiful things. The bane of northwestern Portugal and central Portugal are these stupid eucalyptus trees. They're everywhere. When people started abandoning their farmlands for various reasons, some just went to look for work in the city, others were paid not to grow anything by the European Union, or should I say the EEC as it was back then, and farmers were paid not to grow certain crops so it wouldn't compete with the French. No nice way of saying this. And so what farmers return to make some money is planting eucalyptus trees, because then they could sell those trees off for being made into paper, into cellulose. The unintended consequence is that vast swathes of Portugal is now only eucalyptus trees, and it completely killed all the local flora and fauna, because eucalyptus tree leaves have a resin that is poisonous to many other types of plants and trees, at least the local ones. So yeah, as a result, you've got eucalyptus trees and nothing else, and no animals there. It's eerily silent. And the worst part is, come the summer and high temperatures, it burns with the slightest spark. It is not good at all. So I'm fanatically against eucalyptus trees. They completely destroy the countryside here. It's very sad, really sad. It really makes these drives, it does make these drives a bit of a disappointment sometimes. If all you see are eucalyptus trees for miles and miles and miles, that's not what you want to see. The river is on my left, the Ave River, A-V-E, and it is also bursting its banks. Ooh, this is what we call the civil protection, and when there's floods and stuff, they're the ones that have to go out and, you know, rescue people and such. So yeah, thanks to them for all their hard work, especially in these times. I'll tell you what, to end this video, oh look at that water rushing out, I'm going to go down to the river. I'm more or less familiar with where we are now, and I know there's a turn on the left where you can go actually down to the river, and you can have a good look at how high it is. Finally, some downward hill action to help my average out. Oh god, I wish I'd filmed that, but yeah, this was a zone that's underwater. This guy is not risking it, this lady, but of course I hitched my skirts up, so to speak, as I always say. I just put the car on high level and across I go. Flip. That was a golden opportunity to show off this car's hydropneumatic suspension, and I blew it. How typical of me. Here's a little nugget that you may or may not find interesting, but I remember this is where I filmed a good chunk of one of the installments of my review of my previous car. This was the review on how the car drove, I believe. Talking about the suspension and the engine and stuff. And I was going through here, along this road. It's a bit of a weird story of how I actually found out about this particular route. That was back when I used to have a multimedia company. And at the beginning, you know, a very small company, it was just two of us, me and a business partner. And we had an order for a very specific industrial item. It was a small component that we were able to print on our 3D printer for relative peanuts. And I thought it would be nice if I delivered it myself. And so I did, and it was down this way. And that's how I ended up finding out about this particular route, because the factory where I went was right on the banks of the Ave River. And yeah, where this car's going, that's the main road, and I'm going along this very small, narrow side road. Not that narrow, but it's narrowish. At least it's narrower than the main road. Again, another missed opportunity. I just saw perhaps one of the earliest ever Tourers, which is just slightly older than my old Tourer. It's from May 2008. Yeah, I missed that. Another golden opportunity that I missed. I'm good at missing opportunities. My God, maybe that's why I am how I am in life. That sounds bitter. I probably am, just slightly, just a little bit. filled up the other day, 101 euros. My wife couldn't believe it. She thought, how much? She never filled up with so much money because she's got an AX and that's got a 45 litre tank. So yeah, even if she filled up with petrol at its most expensive, it would probably just nudge. Oh, look at that! Look, all that water coming out. Just nudge 100 euros. But for me, it's sort of like every day. And she was like completely taken aback. There's the river. There, and it has burst its banks. There, that's an affluent, and that would have been a field down there. That would have been a field, but yeah, can you see that? Yeah, it's not good for me. Look, yeah. Let's go back in the car. It's nicer in there. And the weather is not letting up. No, no, no. Splishy splashy. Ouch. That was a pothole that was covered up by blooming water. My goodness me. Yes, I'm going to park here. We're going to end the trip here. So I've come to an old Romanesque bridge to film this shit. Look, someone else is copying me as well in terms of coming to film this. Old bridge still used for traffic. Look at that. Jesus Christ almighty. Usually that's not underwater. So yeah, I was going to film the end outside in the rain, but these morons decided to show up. So, sod it. So it's inside the car. So yeah, that was my little adventure, my New Year's drive. Completely impromptu, improvised, so that's why it's so weird. I don't know what else to say. But anyway, thank you very much for watching if you did make it this far. Happy New Year once again. I hope to see you in future videos. Please subscribe and whatnot and all that other rubbish, but most of all, I hope you enjoyed it, even if it was just a little bit. I bid you all farewell.